MYB community, thank you so much. We're back here for episode number 196 of the Minding Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Champ Ron. Entrepreneurship, real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. Excited here. We're recording this on Friday, September the 11th. Obviously, we know for those of us here in America, we know what this day represents and where it stands in American history. And what it means to this country. And so I've got family members who have birthdays today. So definitely shout out to all the family members and friends who are celebrating birthdays on today or even anniversaries. But one of the things is the anniversary of September 11th, which happened 19 years ago on today. And I remember I was an undergrad. I was just starting my junior year in college. And I remember going into a management class I had that morning, and no one was in there, but the TVs were on to the news, and I saw it then, and I was just floored. So, and of course, I had a great friend that I lost in the events that took place that day, where he transitioned his life. And so, this day has a special meaning for me, as always. And I know it does for many of you that were first responders or had some sort of direct or indirect impact, as we all did with September 11th. Again, subscribe 5-star to this podcast. It helps us continue our reach to many of those that we love to provide insight and best practices for, to help you be just a little bit better for yourself, a little bit better for your family, and a little bit better for your community. I'm excited about today's guest. His name is Puneet Nanda. Puneet Nanda. He is there in the California area, and we're going to get into some really good dialogue about his background, about his journey through entrepreneurship, his business, and how it relates around health that I think is going to benefit us all. So, Puneet, thank you so much for joining here for the Minding Your Business podcast.
Thank you, Ron, for actually getting me here. Thanks a lot.
And, I don't know if it took a lot, but I appreciate you being here.
Wonderful. But since you were talking about September 11th, actually, it has a very special meaning for me as well, because I used to actually have a small space that I was sharing in the World Trade Center in 2001, that I would go and actually sit in his office. But it was on second or the third floor. But I was in LA by that time, but I was actually flying from Target. I'd gone for an appointment, and my plane landed in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And then I took a car with four unknown people back to LA, and it was quite an experience of my life. And my real close connection was two young Indian boys who were my next door neighbors from Delhi. Both the brothers called their mom that they are heated up and they find no respite, and they may have to jump out of the window. And both the brothers died. It was very, very, very touching, because I knew them since 5 or 7 years of age. So it was pretty bad.
Wow.
Means it was pretty heartbreaking. These were both 28, 29-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's, Puneet, that's, just to say the least. I mean, you had obviously very, close encounter, and, it means a lot to you, I can tell. And so I definitely hate to hear that. I lost a good friend, but he was 20 years old and was in that building for an internship. And, it's still even difficult 19 years later to deal with that. And so, having those life transitions, for any life, and then certainly at that age, is just, gosh, it's just tough. It's still a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, sorry to take your time, but let's
No,
come to
no.
the business. Yes, please
Yeah,
tell
no.
me.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I think again, a lot of us listening can relate to some form or fashion. But yeah, so Puneet, I guess alongside September 11th, let's learn a little bit about you. Share with us kind of your background pathway, from where you started to where you are today.
So, in between, which kind of, hello,
Yep, I'm here.
sorry.
That's okay.
So, I had started, I'm originally from New Delhi, India,
Okay.
and I completed my studies, initial undergrad in India and in different parts of India, and then I went to Russia to basically to study medicine, and I ended up starting a business there because Russia was all broken up at that time. This was early 90s,
Okay.
and and I started the Dr. Fresh brand of toothbrushes there. It was like a scarcity of everything that you can think about that's commodity. Because
Yeah.
Russia, how it was there is very similar to what happened during COVID days
Yeah.
in America. Like America did not realize that they are getting most of the APIs that are important to make medicines. API is
Mhm.
the active pharmaceutical ingredient from either China or India. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, because the race to low price has led to APIs being manufactured overseas. So, very similar to that, in Russia, almost one part of Russia manufactured all shirts for the entire country. So, when it broke down, um, they did not have anything that was a consumable commodity because all countries were broken up. So, there was a huge demand and there was no supply. So, I was in the right time, right place, and I said, you know what, the amount of money I'm paying for tuition, I could make in like a few days. So why don't
Yeah.
I try that out? And I became an entrepreneur out of a student. And before I knew, I was actually, I started my own brand, Dr. Fresh, which was my kind of my nickname in the medical college.
Dr.
And
Fresh, huh?
yeah, and
I
I
like that.
used to, yeah, it's a funny story. I don't want to get into that, but so Dr. Fresh became my brand, and then the political situation in Russia became really bad,
Yeah.
and security was a big issue, and then I landed
Sure.
up in New York, and we started the company here, and with very meager, very little resources, literally, because Russia had lots of turmoil and we couldn't. There was issues bringing out anything that you had, so
Yeah.
we had to start with very little resources, and I knew one thing that I would have to be very full of is hustle. So if
Of
I can
course.
hustle, I knew, and I can be persistent in what I want, then I can probably achieve something. So I did not know where to start. It was a sell. Russia was a different situation, more demand, less supply. In America, it was like
Yeah.
totally opposite, too much supply and almost no demand. It means there
Yeah.
is demand, but it's being fulfilled by a lot more suppliers from all over the world,
Sure.
more stable economy. So in this scenario, I did not know where to start. So I sat down one day early on and I went to every store. First of all, I did the market survey.
Okay.
I went to every store, Walgreens, Walmart, Rite Aid, CVS, everybody that I knew. Then I ended up actually checking into a dollar store.
Mm.
And um, I saw that they were carrying very horrible quality product.
Okay.
It was like a 4 pack of toothbrush, but it was selling for $1. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I had experience when I was selling in Russia. I had experience that, okay, where to get the product from made and how to get it made and how to get it made a quality that is very high quality at a price that's extremely inexpensive. And so I used that talent and I created a 4 pack of toothbrush and
Mm.
with a very, very almost like a Oral B kind of quality. And I showed it to the dollar stores around because that was an area that Colgate and Oral B and the big brands did not pay attention to during that period of time because there were dollar stores springing all over. This is like late 90s.
Right.
And but nobody was consolidated. Dollar Tree was a small chain. It had maybe 200 stores at that
Sure.
time. And most of the other retailers were 10, 20 store retailers. And so I literally did something which nobody had probably done before me in the United States. I went and bought a directory so that I can know which all dollar stores are there. There was a book that was available. I found it on a trade show that they were selling this directory. I literally would sit down every morning for 4 hours straight and do cold calling. I cold call all these people, and then I had a fax machine next to me. So the moment the person was ready to take my call, I would request them to that can I fax you a picture of the product, and this is a much better quality, and this is what I have, and this is the price I can give you. I can give you for 55 cents so that you can still make 45 points. Now, a lot of
Right.
people said they don't have time. This is one star. This is not. Then I got lucky with one distributor who said, "Hey, can you give it to me for 40 cents?" And I
Mm-hmm.
already sell to about 20 different small 10, 20 store chains. So I said, "Sure, I'll do it." My cost was 40 cents.
Yeah.
I gave it to him for 40 cents.
Okay. So
The
at
reason
cost.
was it cost just so that at least I get the cash flow moving because a
Sure.
lot of people don't understand one thing. The most important thing in business is cash flow.
Sure.
If your cash flow is wrong, everything is bad. Means you get stuck not because you don't have profits, you get messed up when you don't have the right cash flow.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? I need to keep the river moving because my dad had told me something when I was young. He said, a moving river, you can drink the water, but a stale pond is a dangerous thing. So keep
Mm.
the river moving. So let the goods come in and go. So that kind of got stuck in my head, and I said, you know what? Let's get it out to the market. Hopefully, people will look at it. They'll see that it's a great product, and they'll come back. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So I
Exactly.
started getting some real business. But in
Yeah.
the meanwhile, I was, and in those days, I was not like I was living in a studio apartment in New York, and it was right on the bottom floor, and I hadn't seen the sun, and I was just sick one Christmas Eve. It was my birthday too that day, and I bought a new gateway computer. I looked it up on Weather Channel. I said, which is the hottest place? It was Florida. It was Miami. So I
Yeah.
booked a ticket on airlines called Kiwi Air,
Okay.
and it was 5:50 flight. And that day, when I reached the airport Christmas morning, the flight canceled because there was some issue with the flight. So
Mm.
it's like a $45 ticket I had gotten. And then I was like worried that how would I now, but I wanted to get out of New York. So I was literally somber and I met this Sikh Indian guy, the guys with turban. And he said, "Hey, where are you going?" I said, "I was supposed to go to Miami. I don't know what to do now. I wanted to go find the sun somewhere. So he said, why don't you go to sunny California? I'm going there.
Yeah.
I said, really? Sunny California? I means I've heard of California, but I've never been there. And I don't know if it is. I was looking on weather.com and it didn't show it as sunny, so sunny. He said, no, 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 no. It's 300 plus days are sunny.
Right.
So come on, buy the ticket. It's Tower Airlines. Tower Air was an Israeli airlines. It used to run from Tel Aviv, New York,
Yeah.
LA. 181 last moment ticket. It was, I bought that ticket. I literally slept in the whole plane. When I got up, I didn't see anybody. I came out and I said, "Here I am." I went and slept in a hotel right on the. You used to see the hotels on the board on the airport. I called Furama Hotel. I went and stayed there, and I got up in the evening, in the late afternoon. I rented a car and I went out trying to find an Indian restaurant. And so I was going. When I went to the gas station, I saw an Indian guy at the gas station. He was probably working
Yeah.
there or in the shop, and he sent me to the Indian area. And when I ate Indian food, and and it was like 7:38, and it was 72 degrees, and I was
Wow.
feeling like, and the wind was blowing as if I should take off my shirt and still feel okay. I said, "What the
Right.
hell was I doing in New York today? Why did
Right.
I waste so much 6 months of my life staying in New
Right.
York?" Means it was
In New
great
York City.
earlier
Right.
on, but the moment the
Right.
winter set in, it's
Oh yeah.
brutal. And especially if you don't know a soul in New York, right? I
Right.
did
Right.
not know anybody. I was on my own in the entire country. So I was
Yeah.
like, literally, what do I do? Um,
Yeah.
once I'm so I was literally starting to get depressed because it was almost like COVID for me in those days, because I was
Yeah.
like morning till evening working and then sleeping in the same place.
Yeah.
So ultimately, once I came here, I had heard about a store called 99 cent stores, which is
Right.
like a dollar store
Right.
in California. So I called them up, and this is like 26th or 27th or whatever day it was, and said that, hey, is there a way I can talk to the buyer? The lady said, you have to come on open to buy days if you're trying to sell us something. I said, what is that? He says, Tuesday and Friday we have open to buy days, and the owner, Dave Gold himself, is sitting there looking to buy stuff. So I said, that's cool. At least I meet and to have I can meet somebody real, and I'm not lost within phone and one person to another. So I reach there. I take a taxi. I reach there, and it's like $100 for a taxi. And I was like, oh my god, this is like craziness.
Yeah.
Like in New York, you could go on like a train, like a Tunabana or like metro. But I reached there, and Dave Gold, I showed him my toothbrush. He said, how many do you have? Now, I only had 9,000 pieces. I said, oh, you tell me how many do you need?
Right.
He says, how many do you have? I said, I may have 90,000. He,
Yeah.
he, 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 he said, okay, what is the price? I said, 55 cents. He said,
Yeah.
40 cents, I'll take them all. I
Wow.
said, Dave, you have 45 stores or 35 stores in those days. I said, that would be more product than, like, even if you sold 2 pieces a week, that's more product. That 90,000 pieces would be lost to a lifetime. Means just take 10,000 pieces. He says, no, 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 no. I'll take all 90,000. That's my problem, whether I dump it in the sea or do whatever. You tell me if you can do it for 40 cents. I said, I can do it for 48. He says, no.
Mhm.
It's a take it or leave it offer. I said,
Wow.
I'll take it this on this one. but don't do it next time if you ever buy, or if you ever buy. He says, now let me take you to a fish lunch place. So he wrote me a PO, and he told me, how did I come? Where's my car? I said, no, I just took a taxi. I said, this is craziness. He says, no, don't worry. He had an employee. He requested the employee to drop me to my hotel on the way back because the employee was living somewhere near Culver City.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience, but that I did not make money on, or rather, I lost a little bit of money because I had to air fly some of the product because I wanted to make sure I deliver everything on time.
Yeah.
And but it gave me the biggest break of my life because after I delivered the first shipment, he called me and said, "Here's 6 feet of space. You tell me what I have to do and what I can get for 50 cents. I'll give you
Yeah.
some money." I told him, "Dave, I lost money. Here is my real numbers. And if you're calling me to give you 40 cents, I'll tell you right now that I won't be able to do it because I lost money, and I can show you my invoices and everything.
Yeah.
I'm being honest." He and I speak Russian, and Dave was a Russian Jewish immigrant. So
Okay.
he was like, "Oh man, you got me." My dad came here, and I don't speak Russian, but I can understand a few words. Just I'll give you a chance. He said,
Yeah.
"Here's 6 feet." So 50 cents produce me the nicest things that Walmart and Walgreens are carrying. But I need similar to that, but I don't want to pay more than 50 cents. So
Yeah.
so he gave me that space, and boom, then history was created because when Dollar Tree, which was gobbling up store after store at that time because they'd gone public,
Yeah.
they saw me in there, and I had been contacting them, but when they saw me in 99,
Mm-hmm.
they took my call, and they gave me a call back, and they said they're coming to LA, and there's a guy called Louis Tihan, and he and along with Brian Bagwell, they were there, and I met them, and they wrote me a $350,000 PO. That changed my entire business model. Means
Wow.
I became a real player. Now I was selling to a lot of other dollar stores in the meat. Had started to sell because of that placement in '99
Mm-hmm.
made me look like uh, the biggest go-to guy because I
Right.
had like 5, 6 feet of shelf with like 8, 9 items. So I perfected that, and that became my showroom because everybody, although Dollar Tree was the biggest, because 99 cents was the kind of the original guy,
Yeah.
everybody would look at them to kind of make their stores look better. So that was the day that things moved for me. And then I wanted to sell to Walgreens and those guys later on. I'd been hiring people, but I was unable to go into Walgreens because Walgreens said, "Hey, you guys are dollar store guys. I'm not going to take you."
Right.
So I was
Yeah.
like really stressed out about that. So I sat down again on that white paper, and I said, what do I do strategically? So I saw that maybe private label is the way to go. Why don't I go and compete to get their private label business? And in those days, the private label business was actually consolidated and was being done by one major company out of Michigan. And when I saw that, I said, I can probably compete. I started trying to compete on that, but then I realized after I got a big break in Walgreens, I was
Mm.
able to sell them because Walgreens was having difficulties with Rainier,
Wow.
and I was able to means I was calling them so many times. The buyer used to be John Gambino,
Mm.
that he would always tell me, Dr. Fresh, I don't want your product because I'm already got a great supplier made in America, and I don't need your product. And but I kept calling him every week nonstop. And one day he even said, Dr. Fresh, if you call me again, I'll call the police. Truth, true
Yeah.
to true to the level. The buyer's name was John Gambino,
Oh wow.
and and um, but I was patient and I was persistent.
Yeah.
And one fine day, I get a call from John. I'd
Okay.
been calling again and leaving messages at nighttime so that John wouldn't pick up my call,
Right.
but I was persistent
Right.
every weekly. So one fine day, John gave me a call. He
Right.
says, "This is John." I said, "Yes, John. Uh, I'm sorry I left you a message, but I didn't want to bother you." He said, "No, no, 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 no. Here, you left me a message. You have some things, this new model. Can you
Yeah.
actually come over and show it to me in person in Chicago?" And I don't know, I don't trust if you really know how to deal with Walgreens. Why don't you hire a broker? So I said, okay, can you recommend one? So he recommended two or three brokers, and I called both or two or three, all of them. And one guy jumped on the call and says, "If you're coming, I'll pick you up from the airport." He became
Mm.
my best friend. His name was Steve Anderson. And
Wow.
he was running a company, he was working for a company at that time called Ed Hockfield. And um, I met him, Steve. We went there. Then I found out, because Steve had already done the digging, that Rainier was not delivering one product or was not able to do it at the right price that John had wanted. And he asked me, "Can you do this?" I said, "Yes, sir, I can do this." And my cost was 18 cents for the product, and he wanted 15. I did not say no. I said, "Yes, sir,
Wow.
I can do it." I just
Wow.
wanted my step in the door.
Yeah.
And he says, Steve was telling me, "Hey, don't say yes on the very first go. He may negotiate it and probably say it, but he'll probably give you what you want. But don't say yes." But I did say yes still. I didn't
Yeah.
want to take a chance. I said, "No, yes, sir, I can do it." So I started supplying him, and on the first order itself, I started to feel, oh my God, what did I get myself into? These are too many toothbrushes, and I'll lose my shirt if I don't make money on it. I called John up. I said, "John, thank you for your order." This is like a couple of months later. I said, "You're the best guy. You gave me a break in Walgreens. But I did take the business at a little loss. I would appreciate if there is any other business that I can make some money on so that I can break even. I love that."
Yeah.
John immediately knew I was not lying.
Yeah.
And he said, "Here is another product for me." And later in the life, he became one of my best friends.
Yeah.
The guy who's going to call police on me became my best
Right.
friends. And
Mr.
even after
Gambino.
he retired, yeah.
Yeah.
So I Walgreens became my one of my biggest accounts of all times, and then there's no looking back. And I have a very amazing story how I got my product in Walmart. I don't know
Yeah.
how much time we have, but it's extremely interesting
Oh, yeah. This has been that.
how I.
We'll make the time. We'll make the time, my brother. You can go ahead.
Okay, so when I was in when I was trying to get into Walmart, I I was doing the same persistent calling, and they would nobody. It's difficult to get the real person in Walmart. So
Of
there's this
course.
buyer called Marie Hughes. She was amazing lady, and she once picked up the phone, and I said, "This is me, and this is a toothbrush that I've invented that lights up and teaches kids how long to brush." Blah blah blah. This was my very big advent into a light up toothbrush, and she gave me an appointment. I went there. She thought it's a gimmick. I said, "It's in every doctor's, dentist's office in the country." She said, "Really? My dentist didn't ever give it to me. And I have like grandkids or whatever." And, or
Sure.
I said, um, "Really? Okay. Maybe it's not in Arkansas, but it's right around every dentist in the country." It was in few dental offices in LA, because I used to attend CDA. So I was like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
so so what
Right.
I did was I and during those days 9/11 had already happened,
Sure.
and so I tried to get a few boxes of toothbrushes and go in the dentist around Walmart
Yeah.
and try to give them the product. Nobody would let me into the, like, they said, no, 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 they don't want it. I was trying to give it to them for free, but they wouldn't want it. So I did
Wow.
something. I hired one of the most amazing people who, her name was Megan Dorsey. She was a Raiderette, and I hired her from a modeling agency. And I said, Megan, do me a favor. I want to distribute these toothbrushes to every dental office in Arkansas. So Megan said, oh, that's a piece of cake. Is that all? I said, yeah. So Megan went in and she said she has these toothbrushes. She works for a company with, and these are free for you guys to give it out to your patients. So they
Wow.
took them. So they took them. And I said, when this one box they
Right.
took, that was, I said, this is my guerrilla marketing technique. It's going to work. This is my self-devised guerrilla marketing technique at that time. They wouldn't let me in. Because I was like, 9/11 had just happened. I understand, I'm from India. Sometimes they all were looking alike. And, but with Megan, it was free stuff with a regular girl next door coming in, especially a Raider ad who can talk about football. Boom. She distributed all the boxes that I'd gotten that day. I was driving the U-Haul and she was like distributing them. And by the end of it, 3 months later, I got a call from the buyer. And she said, oh, my boss got one of your toothbrushes and kids can't even stop using it. Are you still around in business? Do you want to come in and meet me? I said,
Wow.
Murray, I'm coming tomorrow. He says, okay, meet me in the lobby. Because I don't have appointments. I said, no problem. I flew
Wow.
to Dallas. That night my uh, flight got canceled. I drove all night to Arkansas, and and boom, that was my first product in Walmart. I never saw back. So then everything started to work, and then years later, there was a point in time when I was working too much. I was 18-hour days work, eating
Yeah.
bad, Jack in the Box, this, that,
Right.
McDonald's, drinking soda,
Right.
living the American life, gained weight, became
Yeah.
unhealthy,
Yeah. I like that. The American
totally,
life.
yes. And very before I knew, there was an alarm one day when I started having a chest pain. I was 38, 39 years old.
Yeah.
And my assistant called 911 and it was an anxiety attack, thank God. But the doctor said, you're running towards the grave. Do you know that, right? So
Wow.
that was the day of awakening. I want everybody to know that I learned that day that the destination is death.
Mm.
And the slower we move, the more time we have to enjoy this world.
Wow.
That was a
That,
turning point of my life.
mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? Maybe it's high time I either get the right help. I don't know how to run a business where I know how to divest the things that I'm doing. So that was the point where I said, why don't I sell it to a private equity fund or something where they can run the day-to-day operations? I can still focus on just the innovation piece of it, which I love to do.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I found the right guys, and that was that. But I had so much time with me after that, and I was enjoying. So I took literally a year off because they wanted a year to kind of on their own to kind of assimilate all the operations and processes.
Yeah.
And in that year, I learned yoga, I learned Ayurveda, I kind of reduced my weight, I lost 40 pounds, I became more agile, I became better than I ever was in my life
Yeah.
in that year. And that transformed my life. So I ended up starting a yoga studio. I thought I'll probably do that and kind of teach yoga for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And while I was doing that, I encountered a lot of people, young girls, using essential oils. So these essential oils, one of the essential oils literally changed my own whole own medical life. Like I used to sneeze a lot every morning, and one day when I used oregano oil, a few drops, and I stopped sneezing. I never had to take Claritin ever again. Made
Yeah.
me believe in the power of essential oils, and
Hmm.
I decided, you know what, I want to understand it more. So I saw that a lot of the essential oils on Amazon that were being sold were all fake fragrances. I'm a chemist. I had over 58 patents in Dr. Fresh Days, so I
Yeah.
understand chemistry really well. And I've also got a science background. So when I saw that, I immediately decided, you know what, I'm going to probably see what is the best product in the market and see what price it's selling. So I saw doTERRA and Young Living were two multi-level marketing companies that were doing amazing job. They had created a system from seed to shelf.
Yeah.
And so I saw that supply chain that they had was amazing, but their price was like $50, $60, which was like 10 times the cost that it should have been. So,
Yeah.
and the rest, everybody was fake product, or they were like
Right.
synthetic or very inferior quality products in the market. They were even writing wrong words on Amazon like organic, and they were not really organic.
Mm.
So I said, okay, I'm going to knock off this supply chain and see if I can bring the same thing to retail. Very similar to what I did early on. Like I had bought in a Oral B kind of a equal quality product to dollar stores. In this time, I was bringing in something from multi-level marketing into retail of same quality as the multi-level marketing companies like Young Living and doTERRA, because nobody in retail had a high quality product. So it really gave me I saw the exact same light that I'd seen during my first company. And I took my entire range. And since I knew all the retailers this time, I took them to Walmart first because I thought, let me try to reach as many people as I can, because this was more like a social entrepreneurship project for me, because I wanted high quality oils to be in the hands of majority of America
Yes.
and at very reasonable prices. I was not looking to make a lot of money or anything. I was just looking to ensure that somehow I break even and or make a slight little bit so that it can pay off the employees' bonuses and a little bit more. And exactly when we presented to Walmart, we showed them what our quality was versus what the rest of the market is. And we got fortunate because the buyer, she at that time, she used to use Young Living or doTERRA oils, and she understood what I'm talking about. And she gave me an opportunity, and then there was no looking back. Today, we are the exclusive partners in Walmart in the vitamin set. If you go into the vitamin sets, that's where they keep their therapeutic range. Now, there's essential oils which are not really so-called essential oils in other
Hmm.
areas which are not our product, but
Yeah.
those are mostly because there is no FDA on it. So a lot of people call their fragrances essential oils, which is not true.
Right.
But in the vitamin section, it's all the real product is in the vitamin section, which where you can say it's aromatherapy, which really will the aroma, which is your nostril, your five senses that are most important that make you differentiated from a vegetable or a tree,
Right.
is your sense of smell, your sense of seeing, your sense of hearing, your sense of touch, and your sense of taste. And the most primitive sense is your sense of smell, because let's say if you go in, you always smell first like a dog, and you say, okay, can I eat it? Yes.
Right.
So what? what it does is when you smell something, the fragrance of that or the smell of that resides in your goes through your nostrils into your limbic brain, which is the primitive part of your brain, and it kind of resides there. Now from there it carries on to your bloodstream directly. It kind of bypasses your entire liver system, and through your bloodstream it reaches all the tissues. Good stuff gets in taken up, and bad stuff gets excreted through your body. and
Yeah.
but the limbic brain keeps that smell into that memory. So let's say if you went to Ritz-Carlton Hotel and you were in that lobby and you'd smell something amazing, you'll remember that. Or let's say you had a girlfriend who had a bad breath, you'd remember
Mhm.
that. Okay. These things are some things that will never go away. So I said, okay, I'm going to create the best product and see how I can replicate Walmart model into other places. So Walgreens also, it's also very buyer dependent. Once the buyer understands where I'm coming from, because there's nobody else that's farm to bottle. So I
Yeah.
created a farm to bottle concept, which was missing in this business. I went to 17 different countries, 40 different locations. I have a I have a thing. If I don't touch the soil, I don't buy the oil. That's kind of
Yeah.
my motto. So I go to every country into the harvest time and make sure I'm buying from the ethical farmer. I created that global farming alliance. So I have these suppliers around the globe where I buy from. I test them on the ground, I test them here, and I get them tested third party. And these are very sensitive gas chromatography tests. And we are maintaining a library where we we neither ever add nor ever delete anything from the oil. It's very
Yeah.
easy to fabricate oil, so we
Sure.
have to be very careful in checking.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where we came. It's hard for us to go and explain this to a guy on Amazon because people sitting in Shenzhen or people sitting in Noida, India, or Bangalore, India, these guys are super smart marketeers online, and they have free labor there, like not
Sure.
free, but like 1/10 the cost.
Yeah.
So
A
they
little.
can literally ruin you with bad comments because there are people in USC, UCLA, all these students studying who probably charge you $50 to or $10, $20 to write a review, and all of these students are connected to these people in India, in Bangalore or Shenzhen, and they have systems where they can get 5,000, 10,000 reviews overnight. So this review system in Amazon is 90%. How can I have never reviewed one product, and I buy 90% of my life's products on Amazon. So you see some products having 40,000 reviews and all 5 stars with essays written in them. Can you
Right.
believe they're right?
Right. No way.
Mostly the only time maybe I give a review, probably one or two times I might have, is only because it was such a bad product.
Right.
Right? For good products, great, thank you, I'll buy it again. But
Right.
right, so
Right.
I have learned that this review system needs to be updated because that is one thing that one day is going to be harming Amazon and others online companies because a lot of the reviews are fake reviews. Most of them, I would say at least 50+% are fake reviews, especially up to 2 years ago, 90% were. Lately, Amazon has been cracking down and trying to help reform this whole thing because they realized a lot of product that they were selling is not right. So that's
Wow.
what it is. So ask me questions because I kind of told you too long of a story
Yeah. Well,
there.
you kind of answered just about all of them, Puneet, which is great. I loved it.
Wonderful.
I loved hearing your story. And kind of you walked through, essentially everything just about I was going to ask you. I guess there's so much to unpack, just from your story. Just, your transition from, from India through New York to, I love the quote that your dad said about, drinking from the running river as opposed to the idle lake. And, obviously, I loved your transition from New York to California. And then, you said something early in your story that I think resonated throughout, which was, your persistence and your hustle. And you mentioned kind of throughout your business walk of how you would do deals even when you didn't make money, and you didn't profit, but you saw the greater good and the long game and what it turned out and how it helped your business. And I think that's something we can all take as a lesson and as a best practice, that you understood your numbers, you understood the value, but you also understood, kind of playing the long game and then building relationships. And that's a lot of what I heard, kind of through your story, which is tremendous. Um, you also touched a little bit, Puneet, on the pandemic, and I wanted to ask you because with your business now and with developing the essential oils and the different products that you sell, how has that been? Or kind of walk us through, how that's been, pre-pandemic to now currently going through the pandemic.
So it's very interesting you asked this question. Two things have happened. Number one, there are certain stores that were closed down. So
Yes.
let's say 20% of our stores that we sold to were closed down. Stores like TJ Maxx for a while were closed down. Stores
Yeah.
like those kind of stores, Macy's and stuff. But then there were stores like Walmart and Walgreens that were doing brisk business. So actually, our sales grew for essential oils uh,
Wow.
by about 20 to 25% uh, during pandemic days. I think people I give it to two major reasons. Number one, a lot of people are working from home, and
Hmm.
working from home, they all of a sudden realize they need to, they're working extra hours. Some of them don't realize they're, number one, they're saving that time commuting, but they're actually putting that back into work. And
Right.
they also wanted a better atmosphere around their room instead of I call it chemical gas chamber, when you spray air fresheners in your room that you can buy at 97 cents that say inspired by essential oils.
Yeah.
And versus burning versus not burning, what versus diffusing real essential oils. Because when you diffuse our essential oil, the diffuser that we sell, it is
Yeah.
actually ultrasonic waves, so there's no heating involved. So you never change the quality of the essential oil. The moment you heat them, the chemical makeup changes of the essential oils. But
Mm.
when you're diffusing them, you basically, it's almost like being in a rose garden or being in a lavender garden. So what happens is you actually start to breathe better, and you start to relax and get energized. And then, because these are essential oils, these are like plant food. So
Yeah.
your body adapts to them. It metabolizes them. The good part is kept in your body. The thing that body doesn't like gets excreted through your urinary system, or your excretion, or your sweat, or whatever. So it's like a metabolism activity. And that is why a lot of people have realized that, and they are doing that. Number two, I think a lot of ladies have been taking a lot of warm water baths with Epsom salt and stuff, and they have
Yeah.
realized that a lot of Epsom salts are carrying fragrance in them. And
Right.
what a lot of smart people have done is they now buy unfragranced Epsom salt, and they put our essential oils together mixed with coconut oil, so that they
Hmm.
can have a moisturized, real relaxing bath. And so these two things combined have grown our business by 20 to 25%, even though we had less uh, so-called retailers that were selling it. And we were never a big thing online, and we are still not, because the guys from Shenzhen and Bangalore and Noida continue to beat us in Amazon.
Yeah.
But offline, we've done amazing. And
Wow.
apart from that, I wanted to actually help a friend who's a doctor, who's infectious diseases doctor. So he said he wanted masks. So I have the supply chain connections from the past. So I actually connected with my connections, and I was able to find masks at really aggressive prices. I did it initially as a friend's on a friend's request, as a friendly gesture. Even
Yeah.
donated some of those to Cedar Sinai, and to some hand sanitizers to Cedar Sinai. But later on, while we had it, I showed it to my prime customers, and several of them wanted to buy them. And
Wow.
we've sold, uh, I would say, close to 200 plus million masks in last few months. So we have actually had unbelievable amount of mask sale in last few months, like 6 7 months. So
Wow.
that's something that we did not envision. But so um, actually, COVID, although we have worked, like I have worked probably the longest amount of hours, similar to what I had worked in when I had that panic thing.
Yeah.
Um, Probably those kind of hours, 19-hour days for nonstop for like for almost 4 months, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, but you're also obviously, through your journey, you've learned, obviously to embrace, all factions of your health, and so I imagine you're feeling better, even though you're working those hours. There, Puneet,
Yes,
you're feeling a whole
absolutely.
lot better, and and of course you're enjoying that sunny California weather still, albeit with the pandemic going on.
Absolutely. So what one thing I do every darn day, come what may, I take 1 hour out for myself. I
Yes.
take that hour out for myself. I meditate for about 15 minutes, and I do yoga for 45 minutes. That is one thing that is keeping me alive and well and healthy. That
Yeah.
is one thing I would say I have not stopped. Then, apart from that, because you're working from home, what I've started doing is I wear my Nikes and I get out and take a little bit of a walk while in the sunny California, and I can talk on phone with my customers or whomsoever I need to discuss. I try to take a walk for another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
These two things combined, they are able to keep me healthy while I work, right. And most important thing I've learned, which I did not know before,
Yeah.
was a high quality of eating. Whatever
Yeah.
you eat is more important even what you exercise. I mean, of course, yoga keeps your brain healthy, but for your body to be healthy, you need to eat right. And I do not eat any fast food. I
Yeah.
I try to cook myself, or I try to eat light food that is homemade, so that it can be digested. And COVID kind of gave me an idle opportunity as not going out, so I
Yeah.
kind of had that opportunity to try to make my own homemade food.
And so no more Jack in the Box, no more McDonald's, huh?
Not at all. I haven't actually had them since last 12 years now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Right.
So hopefully our listeners can take heed to that. No knock against
Now,
those.
only McDonald's I ate, actually, I would take it back, is when I go to China.
Yeah.
And at that time, McDonald's seems sometimes better than anything else. So because you get fed up, and when I see McDonald's, it seems like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. So, right.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. Puneet Nanda is our guest today. He is the serial entrepreneur, and he is the founder of Guru Nanda, which is GuruNanda.com. Make sure NYB you go to check that out. That link is in the show notes for you, so you can check that out. Several just tremendous products. Everything from the mask that Puneet mentioned, to the hand sanitizers, to the essential oils, to just some of everything, all kinds of essential supplies, things for children. Some listing of some of the things that are some of his top selling products. So just a tremendous website, easy to navigate. So go there, GuruNanda.com. Puneet, let me ask you a kind of a fun question. I like to get feedback on and kind of your opinion. Yeah, if I were to bring you $100 million in cash, completely,
Cash.
yeah, cash. Just
My God.
no strings attached, no nothing, just $100 million in cash. What would you do with that and why?
First of all, I'll get some security. Right?
You need it with 100
That's a
million walking around in
that's a
California with
lot
100
of
million in
cash.
cash.
Cash to walk around with, right? Number one, I'll
Right.
probably, I'll probably uh, buy some 30% of that. I'll probably, it means, can I use it through the bank or it has to be
No,
cash?
you can use it however you want. It's $100 million cash that's yours.
Okay, so I'll probably put them in a bank.
Sure.
Probably take 20% of that and invest it in some young entrepreneurs or companies that are upcoming and budding and the people I believe in. I'll take another 30% and invest it in public markets. I'll probably keep 30% in cash, and I will, for the rest 20 million, I will probably maybe approximately 10 million of that. I would probably get a plane of my own, maybe $3 or $4 million worth of plane of my own,
Okay.
so that I can fly, or maybe up to $10 million worth of plane. If there is a revolving cash, they're all probably not even a plane. Probably get it one of those that you can use as needed,
Sure.
net jets kind of a thing.
Of course.
And I'll probably take 10 million of the cash and uh, put it in social work that I believe in, because I have some strong beliefs that I need to help
Sure.
certain kinds of cancer institutes, and I also want to help certain kind of education institutes and certain other things. So I want to put 10% of my cash into social work. So
Sure.
30% cash, 10% social work, 10% on my personal self, and
Hmm.
then 30% in public markets and 20% in new ventures, so that I can feed the. So I have this little saying that my dad taught me when
Yeah.
I was young. It says, feed the lions, ride the horses, kill the dogs. which
Mm.
means which means basically always keep new ideas feeding, so that those new ideas are going to bring you to the next level. And ride the horses. So what ride the horses is like, the things that are working for you, just and keep them milking, keep those cows milking, like keep riding those horses. And
Right.
kill the dogs, things that are actually dragging you down. Or in products, for example, if there is one product that's not selling versus there is a product that's selling, that's the horse, and the new innovation is the lion, and then kill the dogs is the bad product that's not selling. So similar to that, I kind of use that analogy and philosophy in everything I do.
Sure. Well, and I want to give a disclaimer, with the kill the dogs part, that we are pro pets and dogs here on the
Oh,
money.
no, 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 no. I
No,
actually
no.
have two dogs. Dog
Right.
in this is more like a.
Yeah, it's
I'm
figured.
trying
Yeah.
to also convert Hindi proverb into an English one for
Right.
you. So
'Cause I know there's a lot of dog lovers, and
no,
you and
no,
I
no,
are
no.
dog
I am, and me too. I'm one of the biggest dog lovers of all time.
Yeah, yeah, we don't want
So
that animal services calling me.
no, 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 no.
So,
Absolutely, no, no, no.
right.
I hope you get my
Yeah.
analogy. That's the
Yeah,
whole
absolutely.
purpose. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely figurative for sure. Puneet, listen, this has been a just tremendous. Just hearing your story is inspirational. Your story of kind of that, and for those that are here in Memphis, where I'm based in Memphis, Tennessee, we call that grit and grind. That's something that was coined by our former, Memphis Grizzlies basketball team, player Tony Allen, who we refer to as the grind father. He coined that phrase of grit and grind, and that's what I heard a lot in your story. And so it's just tremendous, and I think it's inspirational for us all, especially during this time as we round out the third quarter of the year and we're heading quickly towards the fourth quarter of 2020, believe it or not. And I think that people could learn from that story of grit and grind and inspiration as we move forward. So thank you so much. We want to make sure we support you at GuruNanda.com. So
Thank you so
everybody
much.
go there. But Puneet, listen, thank you so much, my man. I really appreciate it. Look to stay connected, and you continue to enjoy that sunny California area.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time as well, my friend. Champ,
yeah,
keep
yeah.
on winning.
Yep, absolutely. That's what we do. Hey, real quick, before I let you go, you're not impacted any by some of the wildfires and stuff going on there, are you?
No, thank God. I'm in Southern California, so I've been away from that. But the
Sure,
weather has been kind of rough, and if you go out, you can even smell the smoke. So it's not the best air quality, but
sure.
thank God I've been away from that. But
Yeah,
I am very. I hope everybody is safe and everybody keeps safe. It's
yeah,
unfortunate. Well, but that's when you ask me sunny California, one of
yeah,
my best friends told me, you're going to sunny California, but you know that you may um, one day there's a big earthquake waiting to happen and you may die. I said, you know what, my friend, after 10 years when I met him lately, he's in New Jersey. I said, you know what, my brother, I'd rather die one day than dying every day.
yeah.
So, so in winters, living alone in New York, I was dying every day. I said, I'd rather die one day. It's okay. Dying every day, it's
Right.
unfortunate. So,
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Listen, thank you so much, my man. Again, let's remain connected. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And again, thank you so much for your time.
thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Take care. I love that. I love that. I didn't really get to conversate much with Puneet, but I loved him kind of running with that. It's made this a little bit easier episode for me. I didn't have to get into a ton of the questions because he was tremendous and gracious to answer a lot of the things that I was going to ask. But just again, a tremendous story, MYB. I hope that you enjoyed that. And you can connect. Look in the show notes. You'll be able to connect with Puneet if you want to learn more about his business. And again, go to GuruNanda.com. That's GuruNanda.com. Listen, as far as while you're online, after you go to GuruNanda.com, skip over to ChampRonBrooks.com. As I've mentioned, I have consolidated a lot of my ventures into my one website, so it's easy to connect with me, easy to learn more, not just about the podcast, but my other ventures, whether it's in real estate, in community banking consulting, in podcast consulting, with my book, Legacy Living, and whatnot. The software company with Leverage. That's at leveragecout.com. So all the various ventures that I have, instead of sending everybody to 5 and 6 and 7 different websites, I just decided to send everybody to one and make it easy for you to find, and learn more about me and learn more about all the various ventures that I have. So check me out right there, champronbrooks.com. Share it with your friend circle and whatnot. And let's continue to network and connect there. You can email me. New email address you can use, ron@champronbrooks.com. That's ron@champronbrooks.com. I'd love to hear from you. And let's again continue to connect. I'm going to get out of here. Listen, I want you all to have a tremendous rest of your day, rest of your weekend, whenever you're listening to this. And we'll be right back for episode number 197 of the Minding Your Business podcast. Go be great again for yourself, be great for your family, Be great for your community. Peace.